Hello, C Squared Collective, and welcome to the fifth episode in our series, Fall into QuickBooks. Today is all about expenses, bills, and bill payments. If this is your first time joining us, welcome. Each episode is designed to stand on its own and give you practical tips on whatever we are talking about. But if you would like to explore more, check out the rest of our series linked below in the description. Just like the seasons, QuickBooks Online is changing. Some of these updates have been slowly rolling out over the summer, but according to QuickBooks Online, all users should be migrated over to the new interface and banking features as of now. We know that change, especially in technology, it can feel very overwhelming. That is why we have created this series to help you set aside the stress and step confidently into smart financial habits with QuickBooks Online. Each week, we share a clear step-by-step tutorial on the new interface so that you can get the most out of your tools. Just a bit of a disclaimer, keep in mind that QuickBooks may continue to make small adjustments as feedback is received. Also, different QuickBooks subscriptions may come with different features, so our dashboards may not always look exactly the same. Even so, this series will give you helpful tips no matter what version you are using. As always, if you have questions, drop them in the comments below or reach out to us directly at connect@c2accounting.net to schedule one-on-one support. So grab your beverage. Today I have a chai tea latte. I'm very excited, and let's get started. All right, before we start willy-nilly plowing through QuickBooks, let's get our terms straight so that we're all on the same page. In QuickBooks Online, the difference between an expense and a bill comes down to timing. A bill tells you what you owe, while a bill payment records when you pay it. You'll use a bill if you have an account with a vendor, for example, a lumber supplier for job materials, and a plan to pay them later. An expense, on the other hand, combines both what you owe and when you pay it in one step. You'll use this when you pay immediately, like purchasing supplies at a store with your business card. Now that we have our terms aligned with QuickBooks Online, let's dive in. I'll show you where to find each in the new layout and how to enter them correctly. There are a few different workflows for entering and categorizing the money that you've spent. The first option is to wait until the payments hit the bank and enter transactions through the bank transactions section of QuickBooks Online. The last two episodes in the series covered how to do that in the new interface and how to use tools like receipts, rules, and matching. For the majority of your expenses, you'll likely categorize them this way. Or you can use the receipt tool to set up expenses directly from your receipts. But what happens when you want to enter expenses another way, or you're not using the receipt function? Let's first talk about entering an expense that you'll later match in the bank transactions section. There are a few different ways to get there. Option 1 is going to the plus create button, then selecting expense. This opens a new expense form for you to fill out. You can upload a PDF, PNG, or JPEG of a receipt, and QuickBooks AI will attempt to autofill the details. This feature is still in beta, so as always, double check the work. You can enter a payee, which is the vendor you paid, payment account, date, and payment method if you'd like. The reference field is helpful for tracking checks or transaction numbers. In the main section, enter the categories for what you paid for and split them if needed, adding notes for each category line. Enter the amount and assign a customer if you're tracking customers or project-based expenses. Make sure your totals add up correctly to the total expense. The memo area is for any general notes, and you can add attachments down here at the bottom if needed. When you are done, choose Save, Save and Close, or Save and New. Option 2, you can also navigate to the Expenses and Pay Bill app either from the dashboard or by hovering over My Apps, Expenses and Bills, and go to Expense Transactions. This brings you to a list of all transactions, including checks, expenses, bills, and bill payments. Here, you can click New Transaction in the corner, select Expense, and you'll see the same exact form as before. Option 3 Most of the time, when I'm entering expenses outside of bank transactions, I'm entering them from the same vendor. So you can enter from the vendor list as well. Go to Vendors, which is under the same Expenses and Bill app, and select a vendor. Here you can view all related expenses, bills, vendor credits, and bill payments all in one place. Click the New Transaction at the top, and here in this one, QuickBooks will automatically fill in the vendor, or you can click the drop-down arrow next to a past expense and choose Copy. This method is often faster if the details are the same. You can simply change the date and amount or attach a new receipt in the attachments area. The most common expenses you may enter manually are recurring expenses. These are useful for subscriptions, equipment rentals, or any consistent monthly payments. While rules, which we covered in the last video, are good strategy for handling most recurring transactions, you may prefer to create a recurring expense if you need to attach contracts or include extra details. How to do this? If you are in an expense, at the bottom you see this Make Recurring button. This adds extra fields to the top for recurring settings. You can add a template name, and there's a couple of different type options, such as scheduled, which happens automatically on a set date. You can enter how many days in advance you want QuickBooks to create it, which I usually choose about 1 to 3 days. Reminder, QuickBooks won't create the expense, but will remind you that it's coming up. And unscheduled. This sits in your recurring transactions list until you manually use it. For scheduled and reminder types, set the interval for how often the transaction occurs. To view or edit recurring transactions, click the Settings cog and go to Recurring Transactions under Lists. Here, you can view, edit, and add recurring templates for all transaction types, not just expenses. Now that we've covered expenses, let's talk about bills. Remember, a bill differs from an expense because you're paying it at a later date. Option 1 to create a bill is to go to the plus Create button and then select Bill. Just like expenses, you can use the AI autofill feature by attaching a file. Select your vendor, and QuickBooks will autofill the mailing address if it's stored in the vendor file. Enter terms from your vendor invoice or leave it blank if you're setting a due date. A bill date is the date the invoice was issued. A due date is when payment is due. The bill number helps with tracking, especially when you have multiple bills from the same vendor. Next, enter the category, description, amount, and if applicable, a customer or project. If you need to split the transactions, feel free to add extra lines with the correct information. Double check your totals, add any memos or attachments, and click Save. You can also make a bill recurring, and the setup looks identical to recurring expenses. Option 2 is to navigate to the Expenses and Bill app and go to Expense Transactions. There, in the top corner, you can select New and create a bill. Option 3 is in the Bills section. In the Bills section of the app, you can view all unpaid bills to plan for cash flow, review paid bills, and manage bill payments. This is also where you can manage a QuickBooks Bill Pay payments if you have this service set up or included in your subscription. There is a How to Manage Bills if you would like more information on QuickBooks Bill Pay or instructions if you have it set up. Here, you can click Create Bill to enter a new one, click Create Reoccurring Bill for ongoing payments, or upload multiple bills. The Upload Multiple Bills feature works much like the receipt function. You can select multiple files for the AI to autofill. Uploaded bills will appear in the For Review section where you can confirm details before they move to the unpaid list. Option 4 is from the vendor page. You can visit a vendor profile from the Expenses and Bill section and click Add Bill in the top right, or copy a previous bill using the drop-down arrow and selecting Copy. Update the date, due date, and amount as needed, and consider creating a reoccurring bill if it's a regular payment. When bills and expenses are entered, QuickBooks will attempt to match them to bank transactions. For more details on matching, including how to match multiple bills or expenses to a single payment, check out our previous video. Let's now look at marking bills as paid so you can track which ones are still outstanding and can easily match them when payments hit your bank. Once a bill is entered, you can access it from the Bills screen in the Unpaid tab or from a vendor page. Quick note, when you hit Schedule Payment, it will bring you straight to the Bill Pay Hub. If you do not have it set up, it will take you to the screen with information on setting it up. We are not talking about QuickBooks Online Bill Pay subscription today, or this video would be extremely long. If you would like a video on that, please let me know in the comments section below. There are 3 ways to mark a bill as paid. The first way, you can click a drop-down arrow next to the bill and select Mark as Paid. The second way, you can open the bill and click Mark as Paid on the top. Or you can go to the plus create and click Pay Bills. We're going to talk about the first 2 as they will both take you to the same area. So let's click the drop-down arrow and select Mark as Paid. Here you can enter the payment date and reference number, especially if you are paying by check. QuickBooks will automatically select the bill that you opened. Verify the amount paid, the account it was paid from, and edit if it's a partial payment or a payment for more than one bill. Then click Save and Close. The payment will now show as paid in the account register, ready to match in your bank transactions. Partial payments will also be marked accordingly. If you are paying multiple bills at once, this process is especially helpful. QuickBooks doesn't always match multiple bills to one payment unless you use the match feature and manually search. Marking bills as paid simplifies this just by selecting all the bills that you are paying, verify the total, and click Save. Now for the third option. If you hit plus create and pay bills under the vendor list, it will bring you to this pay bills screen. Here you can see all the bills in the unpaid category. You can mark bills as paid by selecting the payment account, the date, and the check number. Then select the bills or bills multiple that you have paid with this check and save for it to be marked in the register. Do note that you want to mirror what actually happens in real life because that's how it's going to come through your bank account. Make sure that the check or ACH payment paying specific bills are recorded accurately and separate for each payment. Don't just click them all or you'll get one giant payment that didn't actually happen. Now, if you hit this Print Later checkbox, you will have an option to print the checks for the payment through QuickBooks Online. Let's walk through that quickly. Remember to only record one vendor payment per check. Then hit the plus create button again and go to checks. If you have not used this feature before, it will walk you through a setup to align your printer with your checks. Then make sure you are in the right checking account and you can see a list of all the checks you marked that you want to print. These won't show up if you're in the wrong account. Click on the ones that you want to print, enter your starting check number, and hit Preview and Print. It will then bring you to the print page where you can preview and print your checks. Now that we have recorded our expenses, bills, and bill payments, here are some matching workflows for entering these transactions. Expenses will match to expense transactions that you have recorded in your bank account. If you've entered a bill but not a bill payment, QBO will match the payment transaction in your bank to the bill. It will only look for bills that exactly match the amount coming through the bank unless you click the Find Other Matches button, which we went over in our previous video if you need more instruction. If you have recorded a bill payment, QBO will match your bill payment to the transaction from the bank. This is very beneficial to record bill payments if you pay multiple bills in one payment. If you have entered a bill, do not also record it as an expense or a check. Always match your payments to the bill or bill payment to avoid double counting. That concludes our overlook on expenses, bills, and bill payments. Now you have the basics to use these features to your advantage. If you would like a more in-depth look at this, please let me know in the comments section. Next, we'll be diving into income and how to put in invoices and sales receipts. Make sure to subscribe and come on back. Leave a like if this was helpful for you. If you have any questions or have an area on these apps that you want us to explore in the series or go more in depth on, please comment down below so that we can help you out. If you want to see more content like this, consider checking out our other socials. I've included those links and the link to our website in the description below. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget, keep learning so that you can be rooted in wisdom and grow with care.